questions along the way, please feel in the comments and we'll try to get to them. So we're just connecting with Ryan and here we are. Hello.
Hey, it worked this time.
It worked this time.
Good to see
we
you.
had some technical difficulties last, but so we are here now. So that's amazing. How are you today, Ryan?
I'm good, thank you. You're not coming in so well, so I hope our connection's stable enough to be able to conduct the interview this time.
Well, we'll give it a shot.
All right, good.
So before we dive in, I just want to give a big shout out to our show sponsor, No Pong Deodorant. It's an all-natural, highly effective deodorant that works really well, has none of the nasties in it like aluminium and parabens. You can get yours at nopong.ca. I've linked to that below. And now my first question to you, Ryan, is a question that I ask all of my Aspire guests, and it is, what is a statement or life motto that you live by?
Well, the path is math would be the statement that I live by, and that everything that I do, I like to reverse engineer and break down the mathematical aspects of it. As an entrepreneur, even as a writer, you know, I'm breaking down how many words are in a book, how many words go in each chapter, how long does it take to actually produce a chapter, and so forth.
So it's like you're almost working backwards. You're looking at the goal and then you're saying, what do I need to get there? What are the exact things that need to be in place?
Yes, everything. The path is math is just, if you want to get to a goal, you have to break down the math, right? And so the path is math reminds me that everything that I want, there's some sort of an equation to get to it.
Right. That is, I love that one. I've never heard that one before, but that makes so much sense. And it really is about, it's all about strategy, right? Like you can have a goal and you can wish and hope, and that's good too, but you definitely need to have a strategy and know exactly where you're headed. And now tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
I've had a pretty crazy journey. I've been an entrepreneur now for 23 years, but even prior to that, I was involved in all kinds of rackets as a kid. I was involved in gangs and in and out of juvenile hall, and I had a pretty traumatic upbringing as a result of addiction running in my family and very other. And so I had a really difficult childhood. But by the grace of God, at 17 years old, my mother started dating a man who would later become my mentor. And he taught me entrepreneurship. And from that point forward, I become an entrepreneur. And so I started my first company. It was called 24/7 Tech when I was about 21 years at 24 years old. And I since went on to start numerous other companies, some that have done quite well and generated billions of dollars in sales and hundreds of millions in exits.
Amazing. And now looking back at your journey, what would you say are have been some of the keys behind your success?
Some of the keys to success. You're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
What have been your keys to success looking back?
Got it.
Yeah,
keys to success.
I think we're a little bit delayed.
Are we delayed here? Awesome. The keys to success have been, belief, I would say, would be number one. Tremendous amount of belief. And, I believed in myself. My mother taught me early on in life that I could do anything I set my mind to. And I really believe that. And everything that I've set out to do, every company I've created, every book I've written, I've always, believed I was going to do something big with it. And so I think belief is probably my number one ingredient. I just believe. Other people, they would doubt me or they would judge me or they still do doubt me and judge me. And I just believe more in myself than the opinions of others. So I would say that would be one of the biggest attributes. Faith and belief kind of go hand in hand. I'm very faith-oriented person. I believe that there's a purpose to to life and that I'm fulfilling a purpose. So I really feel there's a calling on my heart. So I wake up each and every single day and I try to become a better person at fulfilling that calling. And then the other keys to success, would be when I've failed, I've found ways to turn the negative into a positive, meaning I've learned lessons from the failures, and I haven't repeated the same mistake multiple times. I've gotten over it, I've let it go, and I've moved on and made new mistakes and created new challenges in my life. But I rarely repeat the old challenges, because once I tend to master something or figure out something, I try to create new challenges, not just continue to face the old ones. So I move on really quickly from negative. And, I've made a ton of mistakes, had a ton of failures in my life. And each and every single one of them has taught me how to become more successful. And so my relationship to my past is another key to my success. And that, I value the things that I have done that I wouldn't go back and redo.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And now I would love to hear, what are some of the hardest struggles or challenges that you've had to overcome, and how did you do that?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of us we're really damaged by our parents. I was certainly damaged by my parents. And so the biggest challenges I had to overcome was the way I was raised and how my needs were not met as a child. And and those challenges I had not healed until later on in my life. And as a result of those traumatic events and experiences in my life, I turned to self-medication. I didn't really have a father. I wasn't raised by my father at all. He left me when I was about 13. So I didn't have any real standards of morals or ethics or how to live. And so I had to develop those through experimentation and through adopting various attempts at adopting various standards and ethics and morals and so forth. So I had to learn a lot of that stuff later on in life. But there's been a ton. I've committed tons of sins. I've made tons of mistakes, tons of failures, tons of short-sightedness, tons of egotistical, thinking and acting. And I can now look back at all of that and say, wow, what a journey, and what beautiful lessons that each of those things have taught me.
Absolutely. There's always a lesson to be learned. And that's if you can find those lessons in the failure, then it's not a failure, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say my superpower is transmuting negative into positive. And I had a lot of negative fuel to do that. And I did transmute a lot of that negative into positive. And now, my pursuit is self-mastery. So every single day I'm working on some element of self-mastery, whether it be emotional mastery, meditation, breath work. I'm doing yoga. Every single day I'm in a lab of how to, improve upon myself to be a better father. I have a 12-year-old son and a better leader of the company that I'm running, AlterCall, now.
Beautiful. Yeah, it really is about putting the effort in every day to become a better person. And those practices you mentioned, meditation, yoga, they all do that. And it does need to be done, ideally every day. So I'm curious now, what does your morning routine look like?
Yeah. First thing I do when I wake up is I take a salt bath, I detox, I meditate, I then hit the gym right away. So 30-minute bath, hit the gym. I drink water, I guess to start, drink water. Then I do my meditation, then I hit the gym. Then I eat very healthy, plant-based. So I'm extremely healthy and I eat extremely clean foods. From there, I lead a group meditation at 9 a.m. with a few hundred people. And then I kick off my day. And my work day goes from 9 till about, probably around 7 o'clock. And all I do for a living now is help people. So all day long, I'm just basically talking to people, mentoring people, and helping people on their journey as entrepreneurs.
And what are some advice that you would give to entrepreneurs? There's a lot of people, I feel like especially the last few years, are trying to really, they want to make something for themselves. They want to be their own boss and they want to do their own thing. And what's some advice that you can give to people who are feeling that they need to kind of go off and venture on their own, or maybe they've just started?
Well, entrepreneurs are problem solvers. And so if you're called to be an entrepreneur, that means you're called to solve a problem. The better you are at solving that problem, the more you're going to be rewarded. There's a lot of problems in the marketplace, and all a business is a solution to one of the problems or many of the problems in the marketplace. And so as an entrepreneur, you're doing a very important piece of work. And in order for you to be good at entrepreneurship, you have to be good at solving problems. And that means you have to solve problems personally and professionally. And you have to learn how to become a leader. The entrepreneurs that I know that are quite successful have just figured out how to scale the amount of people that they are able to work with on their teams. And so as an entrepreneur, the more jobs that you're able to create, the more successful your business is going to become. And it's really that simple. But what I would do if I were you as an entrepreneur is I'd study, I'd immerse myself in it. Like as I did, I was listening to audiobooks, I was reading books, I was reading every newspaper article, every blog post, everything I could get my hands on, and then surround yourself with other entrepreneurs. Because when you're around other entrepreneurs, you'll be creative as well, and you'll get a lot of best practices by who you surround yourself with.
Absolutely. You really do become the people you hang out with the most, and the people around us affect us more than we can ever realize. So if you're putting yourself in an environment you've done what you want to do, you're going to learn so much from them and kind of, just see how they're behaving and get that input. It's super beneficial. And you were talking about leadership. What do you think characterizes a good leader?
Well, for me, I aspire to be the best father that I can be. And as a result of that aspiration, I default to being a decent leader. So I try to, be very fathering to the people that I'm supporting. I want to help mentor them. I want to help develop them, much like I do my 12-year-old child. So whether you're a leader that aspires to be the best mother, the best father, really are the parental roles within us and the parental instincts within us are really what, leadership is all about. And so, I try to be the best, just the best coach that I can be to my team. The other aspects of it, I've studied John Maxwell. He mentored me for quite some time. I've studied Tony Robbins, who's a friend of mine, and a bunch of other very prominent leaders. And I've asked a lot of these deep questions myself. And so I'm always looking to develop my leadership skills, because leadership is a skill. There's also elements of it that are around your personality and around your identity, but there's also a lot of skills to leadership as well that you have to develop.
Absolutely. And you talk about asking the right questions, and what kind of questions should we be asking ourselves for a better life?
Well, I'll give you the best question you could ask of anyone else, and that is, how did you do it? So when you ask a potential, a friend that's starting a business, and they're, and you want to learn, potential employee that's come from another business, ask them how that they did it. Start asking people how they did it. How did they get to their level of success? And try to get as specific as possible. The questions that I ask myself is real simple. It's, how do I become a better father? How do I become a better son? My parents are both transcended. They're not with me physically, but I still want to make them proud, and I still want to be the best son that I can be. And how do I become a better servant? Meaning, how can I serve the people that are giving me their hard-earned money, to help mentor them and help develop them and investing in me? How do I serve them better? And so I ask those three questions every single day.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And now you also talk about the importance of having an open mind or avoiding having a closed mind. And how do we do that in practice?
Well, anytime you're closed off to other ideas, other people's opinions, other viewpoints, you're not taking in information. When you're closed, you're not learning. And so I want to always be learning. And so I'm always looking for, what can I learn from this individual? Whether I agree with that person's priorities or principles or practices, there's a reason why I'm in front of that person, and there's something for me to learn from them. So the way to answer your question specifically is, you just have to try to learn from every encounter you possibly can, and from every experience. And by the very act of learning, that means you're open, because you can't learn when you're closed. If I'm closed off, meaning this is not going to teach me, this isn't going to benefit me whatsoever, I've closed off. But you can learn, you can receive a brilliant divine inspiration from just observing animals in their natural habitat, or just seeing how traffic is migrating can give you an idea. And so if you're a learner, and you are constantly seeking to learn from everything in your environment, you will by default have an open mind.
Yes, I love that. Absolutely. It really is so important. There's always more we can learn. And I think one of the most dangerous things you can do is to think that you know it all, and you don't want anyone's advice, but it's that openness, and it's so important. And now I would love to hear more about how you.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. We're a little bit, it's lagging a little bit here.
I know we're delayed.
Apologies for everyone watching, but please go ahead and continue.
But I was just going to say, when you get to a certain place of wisdom, you just realize how much you don't know. Like, I realize that I know maybe 1% or a percentage about how this whole reality works.
Yes. A wise man knows that he knows nothing at all.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
believe me, it took me a while to get there.
Yes. Well, it's all a journey, and we can just do our best every day, and be happy that if we're doing our best, we can never fault ourselves or feel bad, because you know that you're doing your best, and that's all you can do. And now let's talk about health, and how have you been able to master optimal health, and what does that look like? How can we really work on our health and optimize it? What did you do to get to this place?
Yeah, I still have a lot of optimization to do, so I'm not perfect, but I eat very well. I'm constantly measuring my body, asking myself, what adjustments do I need to make? I practice yoga, I do vocal work, I do martial arts, I train every single day, I go on hikes. The way I see it is, my energy is my greatest asset, and energy is my form of time management. And so I'm always checking in on my energy and making the adjustments energetically. And so I never skip a workout. I never skip eating correctly. That's my highest priority, because that's the stuff that creates the energy, that creates the creativity, or the success or the results. If I don't have the energy, I don't get the result. So to me, the most important thing that we can do is focus on our energy. And that means you have to heal things. That means you have to, to stretch and grow and step out of your comfort zone, and you have to push yourself.
Yes, indeed. And I love what you said about energy, because without energy, you can't do anything at all. Yeah. So it really does come down to energy, and you can't expect your body to be full of energy if you're fueling it with the wrong fuel. It's like you wouldn't fill your car up with junk and expect it to run smoothly. So why would you do that with your body? So it really is about maximizing our energy, and that will give us what we need to start that business, or put in the work that's needed, or be present with children, or whatever it is you want to show up for in life. And now, what is something that you're currently working on within yourself, something you feel could need improvement within yourself?
What with myself? Well, I'm optimizing my body. I've recently started working with doing yoga. I've worked on my my reaction system, my triggers, like things that trigger me. You know, if something makes me upset about something, if something isn't going my way, or a person, you know, particularly when you're running a large company, if, you know, somebody is not performing at the level that you expect of them to, I've worked on making sure that, you know, that the way that I react to that is with a positive response, or I take a proactive approach. And so as a leader, you know, you're constantly having to work on the things, especially when you're leading a relatively large community and a team. You know, I've got thousands of people that are part of the AlterCall community, and, you know, good sized team that's supporting it. And so I have to make sure that I'm, you know, I'm bringing the energy and the positive energy to them, but I'm also challenging them, and I'm addressing confrontation, and I'm holding them to a higher level of accountability. So that way I can make sure that, you know, that we're able to achieve our objectives. So, you know, I would say that the number one thing that I've been working on is just making sure that my reactions are, you know, are positive as opposed to negative reactions. Because, like, for example, let's say somebody, you know, has a deadline and they miss the deadline. Like, you know, and that affects the entire team. It affects your revenue. It affects your profits. It affects the entire thing. And let's say the person, you know, is making excuses for that. The old me would have, you know, been really tough on them, called them out for making excuses. The new me, you know, will pull them aside and say, you know, you shouldn't be making those excuses. It's not your highest self. So teaching people how to come from their highest self, and then me learning how to also speak from my highest self.
I love that. You're reacting as your higher self. And I think that is our reactions are so key, because there's so many moments, there's so many triggers and situations that happen, and our reactions to those situations are really critical to how it continues to evolve. And so if we can just take a breath and think about how we want to respond instead of just doing it automatically, you know, I think if we get that second to think about how we would like to respond as our higher self, a different reaction most of the time. So that is super, super important. And now, what would you say to someone who's watching right now or will listen to this episode later, if they're going through a bit of a hard time? What's something that you would say to them right now?
You know, everything bad that's happening is shaping you into a better mother, a better father, a better brother, a better leader. And so all of the things that are happening, that appear to be happening to you, they're happening for you. And my advice is just look for the positive, and I'd gamify things. So every time negative comes my way, I see it as an opportunity to gain points. And so if there's something negative that I have to address, I'm just going to gain points from it. And so if you really gamify life, each time you react appropriately, each time you don't react and you respond, each time you do the right thing, each time you get a workout in, you go the hard way, you try to serve, you care more, you help more. Each time you do a good deed, each time you check in on a friend, you gain points in the game of life. And then each time you dwell on the past, or you gossip, or you criticize people, or you're negative on yourself, negative self-talk, you lose points in this game of life. And so just gamify life. And if you're going through a really tough time right now, just try to, gain points by not reacting to the negativity, by doing good deeds, and by looking at the positive things that will come as a result of the difficulties that you're facing.
I love that. Gamify life and look to score points. That's a really cool way of putting it.
Yeah, and no matter what you're going through, you can do that. Like, you could be going through a divorce, and just all you have to do is react appropriately, react positively, react with compassion, react with love, and you'll gain points. You can be going through anything. And the more that you do that, the more that you will speed up your transformational journey, and the negative event will actually turn positive at some point.
Yes, very powerful. And now, for anyone who's not gotten involved in AlterCall yet, maybe share a little bit about what it is you do and how people can get involved.
Awesome. AlterCall is a call for change. We basically help people alter their lives so that they can answer their calling. We have 3 programs. If you go to my Instagram page, there's a free principles course, which is our top 50 principles. Plus we have a daily meditation that we do each and every single day, where we gather as a group with hundreds of us and just go into a meditation. And then we have some more advanced programs. And if you're interested in that, all you have to do is go to the link in my bio. And on the advanced programs, you know, I mentor people directly. And there's a community of about 200 business leaders that are a part of AlterCall right now, building their businesses, you know, basically leading with their faith as they build their businesses and building businesses that are solutions in the marketplace right now.
Amazing. We have a comment saying AlterCall is changing the world.
Awesome.
Amazing. And I have some final rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So what is one book everyone should read? You can say your
I'd say Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain by a guy named Blair. But other than that, you know, there's been a number of books that I've read on I wish you could see my house. There's stacks of books everywhere. It's filled with books. You know, in terms of there's so many of them. It just really depends on where you are in life right now. But Influenced by Robert Cialdini was a great book. Tipping Point has been a great book. Spiritual books, whatever scripture you're called to is always going to be very important.
Yes. And what is one thing we can do for our health?
Eat right.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Eat clean, organic, high quality foods. Don't eat garbage.
Yes. What is one thing we can do to achieve our goals?
Develop a work ethic.
Yes, beautiful. Ryan, thank you so much. This has been such an incredible conversation. So many nuggets of wisdom. And I hope everyone watching has gotten so much out of this. The recording will be available on my IGTV. And I just want to also give a big thank you to our show sponsor, No Pong Deodorant, all natural, healthy deodorant that works really well. You can get yours at nopong.ca. It's the only thing I use. And yeah, Ryan, thank you so much again. You're such a light, and just keep shining your light and being and putting all of this goodness into the world. It's really needed, and I know that you're so appreciated.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and we'll have to find another time to do this with better technology connection between the two of us, but it was fun answering these questions, and I hope we were able to provide some value.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Charlotte. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.